Okay. Everybody, buckle up because this is gonna be a doozy or whatever the hell the saying is. I'm Asian. We actually don't really use sayings like that. Okay, I'm getting off track. Okay, so Wicked. First off, hello, Ariana Grande stans. Listen, I promise that if you stay through this video, we will be friends. I promise you that. Okay, I'm so scared. What a journey it's been on for Wicked, you know? Since the tweet that's still up back in 2016 that says Wicked is coming to theaters in 2019. And now, fast forward 5 years later, in the year of our Lord 2024, Wicked is here. Or should I say Wicked Part 1. Shout out to the dad next to me who clearly came to the screening just for his daughter, and when the title card dropped and then the Part 1 hit, he turned to her and said, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah, Wicked is split up into two parts, something that the marketing hasn't really been showing. Part 2 is currently scheduled a year later in November 21st, 2025. And that's like fine, I guess. It's not like that big a deal to me. I mean, I don't think it's necessary, just learn to adapt. It's not a big deal. But, maybe it'll give each movie an easier burden to not rush through certain things, I said to myself. And then the runtime got announced. Wicked Part 1 is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Now, I asked my friends who have seen the Broadway play, and they said that the play runs around 3 hours in total. So then my brain gets going like, okay, so a 3-hour musical is being split up into two parts, and the first part is almost the same length as the entire Broadway play. So what the fuck is in this movie? I don't mind a long movie at all, but you have to justify it, and maybe it would. And after initial reactions have deemed it a musical masterpiece with Oscar nominations and maybe some wins surely coming its way, Wicked has become the talk of the movie-going world. I had a chance to see it the other day, and this movie is so interesting to me. I want to set the record straight first because I think people are kind of misconstruing my feelings. This is so stupid. I don't hate musicals. I have said that the musical genre, if I just have a buffet of movie genres, I'm not going to the musical genre first. It's not my preferred go-to. But that doesn't mean I don't like them when my favorite movie is a musical. Part of my brand on my channel is another musical movie. I have just pointed out that I think a lot of musicals share the same flaws. So, I don't want this to be like, oh, this fucking guy again, he just hates everything with the song in it. Because, no, I don't accept that, okay? You've never had chocolate like this. But I know you see the title of the video, and you're probably confused. And as with most things, relax, take a deep breath. It's not that big a deal. It's not meant to be taken literally, but I'll try my best to explain what I mean by that. Because I know when I say that this movie, Wicked, feels like if Kevin Feige and the MCU were in charge of making it, you might be scratching your head a little bit. Allow me to explain. I want you to close your eyes and think about the MCU. Recent MCU movies and the criticism and praise that's been thrown its way. Okay, now you can open them. All right, so everything that you thought of, both the good and the bad, Wicked has it. Which is to say that I think this movie, Wicked Part 1, is an entertaining, crowd-pleasing musical movie with great performances, filled with cameos, Easter eggs, and some of the most horrific lighting I have ever seen in a movie of this scale. I'll talk about the good and the bad here. Let's start with the bad and end with the positive, okay? Stick with me. We need to keep the same energy, okay? We need to be consistent as a society. Marvel movies rightly get called out for having horrific visuals. They talk about how gray and bland and flat it all looks. And Wicked falls into that. And here's why it upsets me more than it would talking about like a fucking Captain America movie. It's because I've seen the behind the scenes video. I mean, take a look. They are beautiful. The sets, the costumes, they're gorgeous. They're so vibrant. So you tell me why it's like they purposefully slap a filter on it that makes it look like the whole movie was taking place in like the void in Deadpool and Wolverine. It just looks flat in times where it should be anything but. No spoilers, I promise, even though the Broadway play has been out for like decades. Okay, there's a scene in the beginning-ish where Cynthia Erivo is just belting, and it's beautiful. Obviously, her voice, we'll talk about more of her in a little bit, but she is belting it out like near a cliff, and the camera pulls back, and it's supposed to be this amazing moment, and it pulls back to some of the most gray, bland, flat, just nasty looking background. I'm like, what? Like, that's a disservice to Cynthia Erivo at some point. And I do want to emphasize that these sets are still amazing. Like, you can see the craft on display, but when the movie uses some blue screen, yeah, it's rough. Because to the point of the visuals, it actively distracts from the great performances. When I'm hearing Defying Gravity, you know what I should be doing? I should be bawling. I should be bawling my eyes out. There should not even be a small part of my brain that says, oh my God, that looks so bad. Like it looks like mud on screen. Like that. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to me? And to my surprise, this movie isn't as like lively as I thought it was going to be. And here's a conundrum with musicals, especially one that's been around for so long. It's that the songs are obviously, it's like so iconic and they're so good and they're so catchy. And it's trying to decipher, is the movie like enhancing that material, or is the movie relying solely off the already established songs and the great performers? And that's kind of what you have to go through, because it's a close call. I definitely lean one way, but the beginning musical number, I was like, uh-oh. Listen, I realize not everyone is Steven Spielberg with it, but it is one of those musical numbers that relies solely off the songs and the voices of the performers. It does not look very good. The choreography itself is good, but the way it is blocked is not, and I'm just very confused, and it's hard not to think of something like West Side Story. And I realize some people are going to be like, oh my God, who cares? Like, it's just a color palette, or like, who cares how great, like, movies, we need to get this, and it's a visual medium, okay? It is a visual medium. We need to talk about these things. But look, what is this feeling? Then comes on. And then I'm like, okay, John M. Chu, he has some sauce right here, okay? The sauce is on screen. For the first time since the movie started, it actually had some juice to it. It's a completely energetic and lively scene. Good choreography as always. Actual camera movements that are enhancing the material. And it made the movie feel alive in that theater. And I don't want to act like this movie is just a bland Lunchable. Okay, it's not. It has those moments that I just talked about, but it has them less than I thought they would occur. Because while I do like that scene, I think Dancing Through Life is pretty good for the most part. This movie really does rely solely off the talent of the performers. I mean, Cynthia Erivo just carrying, Ariana Grande carrying. And I don't know what they added from the Broadway play. Okay, here in Arizona, like, shocker, it's kind of hard to see those. But it did feel very bloated. Some characters are so underdeveloped, and yet we are shown them again and again. And I know what you're saying. Oh, like, part 2 is coming, dude. You got to wait for part 2. It's going to rectify part 1. I actually don't have a doubt about that. I believe that. But I can't therefore like change how I feel about part 1 for something in the future that hasn't happened yet. I don't know what it is. Like I guess just like reading people's reactions where they say like multiple applause breaks, people like sobbing in the audience. Like, I don't know. My audience, there's like no applause breaks. It was actually a muted experience, and it was a full theater. So I don't really know. I mean, like, the only time I really clapped was when there was a scene that I could actually see. All right, not funny. Here we go. Dancing Through Life. Good scene. Camera moving, lively, good performances, good song. I like it. I'm liking it. And then, oh God, here comes that ugly backlight. What is happening? I just really expected to be like swept off my feet. Like, I actually did have high expectations for this movie. I did. I really thought I was gonna like it. I'm open to this. I want something like this. And then like by the end, you know, I mean, since it is a part 1, this isn't really criticism, it's just kind of funny. It really goes off on some like Marvel Studios, Alphaba and Glinda will return type shit. But okay. I doubt there are any Grande stans still watching if they haven't left a comment already, which, you know, when I'm thinking about it, yeah, I can't read, actually. I can't read. For all that's been said about something like the MCU, in my opinion, overall, the performances usually aren't the problem. Like, no matter how you feel about those movies, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is good as Iron Man. You know, Chris Evans is good as Captain America. Tom Holland, good as Spider-Man, etc., etc., etc. And the performances here are great. I know we're going to get more in part 2. Alphaba as a character in part 1, like, not much to it. You've definitely seen it before on, you know, accepting your differences and finding a friend that once was an enemy-ish. But Cynthia Erivo is great, and we know this already. She has the acting chops, obviously, and she has the voice. What else do you need? It's really a no-brainer to cast her, and she's excellent. It really delivers the emotion. Jonathan Bailey, you know, we're not so different. We share the same first name, and, you know, he's a good-looking, charming dude. He's, like, rich and famous. I'm, like... I don't know. I'm like a 3 out of 10 on a good day, honestly. You know, we're not much alike. He kills it. I mean, you look at his face and you tell me he's not meant to play a prince, all right? You tell me that. And Ariana Grande is excellent. I'm glad that my Ariana Grande is actually the most talented cast member of Victoria's take from like decades ago has really hit an all-time high. And she really works for the role. Even though I am like a genuine fan of hers, I was a little curious on how she would hold up, but I thought she was great. She was believable. And when she's on screen, it is genuinely hard to look away. I don't know how much of that is attributed to her fame outside of acting or the fact that when I saw her on screen, I had like a flashback to my young adolescent childhood where I was like very attracted to her, but also like she is the most talented member of Victorious, a take that I will stand by and clearly is right. But she killed it. I would have to think about it, but it is a performance that has stayed with me more than I thought it would. And the fact that she is getting some Oscar buzz, I can't argue with that because I do think she's great. So there you go. Are we friends? Are we friends? Can I have some? I really have no problem with the main performances. I think they're all great. There are some other like side characters and their performances where it's just like not even worth mentioning. Like Michelle Yeoh is kind of just, I don't know. She's not really bringing much to it, unfortunately. And even though I do think this story is very bloated, like it's not boring. Like no one can say this movie is boring. At the end of the day, what is important is that I am clearly in the minority on this movie. Critics obviously seem to like it. I know audiences will love it. It's going to make a shit ton of money. It's going to have some Oscar nominations here. Like I fully expect to be in the minority here, and that's okay. But I just can't get over like as well acted as this movie is, as many great moments and scenes there are in this movie. I cannot get over the awful visual palette of this movie, the bloated nature, just the horrendous visuals, and how many scenes that I didn't find as lively or energetic as I thought they were. Wicked, 2.5 stars. So the Selena Gomez movie I didn't really like. The Ariana Grande movie I didn't really like. But hopefully we're okay, because I thought Ariana Grande was great. And like I said, not reading the comments from my mental health. Okay, bye.